There were a couple of questions here. I'll do my best to answer them really quickly.
Testing
One is,
1, 2.
whatever happened to that the train must be built using existing transportation corridors? Wasn't that one of the must-have dictates? Well, if you read it carefully, it said transportation and utility corridor. A utility corridor is Southern California Edison power lines, Metropolitan Water District power lines. And it also said, to the maximum extent feasible, they would follow transportation and utility corridors. Their lawyers were very smart early on when they were selling a PR program, and many of us thought that it was going to follow like a metro rail almost down the freeway. They had already gotten themselves the out. And if you think about it, the freeways don't work because the freeways can zig and zag and they can go up and down. When you're going 220 miles an hour, you have to go on a fairly straight route, a fairly straight line. So that's why they came into the forest, into these other areas with these broad sweeping routes. So I hope that answers your question. We were very upset about this early on, but they, for the most part, are near these power lines and like when you saw the Wheatland picture and the Shadow Hills picture, right next to the power lines. Okay, next question is, can we ask her if Monica was there? Did she stay the entire meeting? Can we ask who? Oh. It's okay, so somebody's saying Ann Job is here. Do you know if Monica was there and did she stay the entire meeting?
Testing 1, 2.
Okay. This is a comment. It says, the Sylmar Neighborhood Council held a candidates forum for the 20 candidates running for city council. Monica Rodriguez said we should vote for her because she was the best informed and would hit the ground running. That's somebody's comment. It says, we deserve better. We have been deceived. You know, the only thing I can say is don't ever say never. Maybe we'll get through. Maybe someone will talk some sense with her. We're not going to stop trying. Lynn Tobey is not going to stop trying. One question is, if we as a community decide to sue the California High-Speed Rail Authority, is our chance of winning in our favor very slim, since previous court cases have ruled in High-Speed Rail's favor, and the fact that HSR will be using previous court cases as reference to win in future cases? Bill Ike, do you want to take a shot at that one? It's going to cost money.
Yeah, it's going to cost money, and the answer is the cases that they've dealt with are up in Sacramento, and the judge up there has basically said it's too early to tell whether this case is ripe to be decided. We'll decide it later. They actually, as far as I can tell, haven't won anything. They've lost a lot, and we have all sorts of legal tools in our bag, and not all of which I'm going to talk about now, but we've been in contact with lawyers who are specialized in suing high-speed rail. That's not me, but other people.
Right now we're doing the comment cards. Let me finish these. And we're already a half hour late. We're going to have to wrap this up. I'm sorry. The question is, how do you mitigate the San Andreas fault? You know, we've had meetings, discussions on this. They are designing the routes, I think, to try to avoid some of the most active seismic areas. You know, we don't believe it. They say they can build these tunnels so they flex and they give, and they can build them to, just like you can build buildings on the San Andreas Fault. I mean, the engineers at the High-Speed Rail Authority, they say they could build a loop-to-loop on the freeway of the, you know, thing going over the Big Tonga Wash. We don't doubt that they don't think they can do it, but whether it's practical, feasible, I think the answer is common sense would say you don't put a 220-mile-an-hour train anywhere near the San Andreas Fault. You don't put it anywhere near residential neighborhoods. You don't put it anywhere near sensitive environmental areas like the Angeles National Forest, which has the wildlife and the water we talked about earlier. You don't put it near sensitive environmental areas like we have demonstrated over and over and over again with the Big Tahunga Wash. So their geotechnical studies, as we read earlier, they concluded that it's extremely difficult to do, but they're still moving forward. So we're going to have to continue to contest and fight them on that. Okay, did you have a question? Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? And then we're going to wrap it up and I would ask also before you all break up, if you see any paper around, please take everything with you. We got to get everything out of the church as fast as possible and drive safely home. Do you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I do. So I am completely against this stupid train to begin with from the very beginning. So we have a president that actually thinks that this is a complete waste of taxpayer money. Why don't we basically get a hold of him and make some big ruckus? If basically people in Florida can make a big ruckus for basically the mass murder, why can't we do the same as a bigger crowd?
Well, it's a fair question, and to be perfectly honest, right now this White House is helpful to us on the high-speed train issue. High-speed train has three sources of funding: federal, state, and private. They have zero private money. Their federal money, the Trump administration and this administration is cutting off funding for the high-speed train at the federal level. What's emerging, we could do a whole meeting on this. Cindy Bloom could walk you through the whole tutorial. Almost all of the project now is being funded by state dollars. The federal monies have dried up. And something to remember, President Trump's strongest ally in California is a congressman in the Central Valley. And that congressman is lobbying him every day. Kill this project, kill this project. I am not a Donald Trump fan, but I will take whatever he gives us. So we should not worry as much about the federal level. We should worry more about the state. We have a change coming with the governor. I think when Governor Brown leaves, whoever gets elected is not going to be as strong or as staunchly in support of this program. But we got to flush them out right now during the campaign and get their positions made public.
I have a question. Since it's taken so long...
This is our last question. Where is it coming from? Okay, go ahead.
Why can't we work to put it back on the ballot and vote it, reverse the vote on it?
That's a great question. The short answer is it costs a lot of money to get something on the ballot. It takes a lot of signatures to get on the ballot. There's two ways to get a ballot measure. One is 2/3 vote of the legislature. And right now, with a Democratic supermajority that is afraid of Jerry Brown, you wouldn't get a 2/3 vote by the legislature to put it back on the ballot. If you tried to get signatures, you have to get a percentage of all the people that voted back in 2008. It's in the hundreds of thousands of signatures. It costs a lot of money to get those signatures. There have been a few ballot measures that have tried, but they've all fallen short. They've all fallen apart. So that's at the state level. Our best focus, sir, is right here locally. Let's not worry about the whole state. Let's worry about these two routes. Let's keep pointing out all the reasons they're flawed. Let's get all the political and community support we can so that those routes don't succeed. Put the onus back on the authority, and my bet is the time and money will kill them. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Can't hear it. Can't hear it. Her question is, why is the train going sideways, basically, to Palmdale, meaning not coming in the straightest line possible from Northern California? That's a political decision that was made a number of years ago. Palmdale lobbied hard for it. They wanted the economic development that went with it. They felt it would eventually connect up to Las Vegas. They got enough support, enough votes, and the High Speed Rail Authority was going to do anything they could to get support here in Southern California. So they agreed to put a station in Palmdale. And so it came through political activity, political influence, and now we're paying the price for that. Good question. She says, can that be changed? I don't think it can be changed, because if you remember the slide we had about the ballot measure, Prop 1, and there were certain things that were ironclad. Well, one of the things that's ironclad is that there will be about 24 stations. And if Palmdale, and I believe Palmdale was mentioned as a station when the proposal first went to voters, that would be a very big change, and the courts wouldn't allow it, because it would be different than what the voters voted for. Correct. That's why when they're required to go at, ma'am, you're going to help everybody get to the real smart conclusion here, is that by putting all the stations in, think of it as a rubber band. They've stretched it as far as it can go. That train is going to get down here in 2 hours, 39 minutes, and 59 seconds. That's why it's so impossible to conjure up this added hour for the Metrolink alternative, plus the fact that it's not a one-seat experience. So you're saying all the right things. This is the common sense. But these guys, they're a bunch of magicians and lawyers, and they have created loopholes, like we mentioned with the utility corridor. And a lot of these issues will wind up in court. And a lot of the things you've mentioned, there are court cases like that up in Central Valley right now. So Bill and we will watch those cases. There may be precedents established as a result of those cases that could help us here if we need it. I think we're going to win on political grounds, and I think they're going to run out of money, and I think they're going to have to admit that they can't tunnel through the forest.
I hope so, because I'm not leaving. Neither am
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. We'll be around as we clean up. Be happy to take more questions just on a one-on-one basis, but we've already overstayed the church. Can we thank Pastor Tay? Can we thank the church for their hospitality? Remember, it's All Nations Church. They're a great community supporter, and we really appreciate them hosting us here today. And thanks again to the S.A.F.E Coalition people who did all the decorations, the invitations, the flyers, the door hangers. This was a team effort. We're all going to Baskin Robbins. We'll see you there. Bye.